Right, I've turned the camera around so you can actually see my project. Um, I apologise if I look a little bit all over the place. It's just that my camera's in front of me and I'm trying my hardest not to knock it. Now, so the bureau that I wanted to create, I wanted it to have a faux sort of furniture look to it. I wanted it to look like it was from the maybe 40s, 50s, or it could fit into an office somewhere and just sit at the back. Alternatively, I could have added handles and it became the look like a mock sort of camera bag. So it could, become two different things. And I was inspired by the imagery that's within the Enigma papers to create this. Now, what I said is I wanted to create a bureau, a mock piece of furniture. And I've used a die that actually helps me create this beautiful curved effect. So if I take this out, you'll see what I mean. So I can create the curved look to the front of my dresser. And the die is called a living hinge die from Dolly Dimple's Crafts. And it then allows me to create that curve without damaging any of the card at all, but I get that curved look. So if you bear with me. Now, what I want to do is this slides down the bottom there, which holds the lid in place. With hindsight, I wish I'd put this down a little bit lower, because then more of the roll top of the bureau would have gone down a little bit further. But you know what? I can live with it. So let's turn this round. Now, the idea is that, once I've finished with all the things in my bureau, I can pull it down and it holds in place, and all my secret documents, for want of a better expression, are hidden from sight. I've decorated the front up just using some of the snippable elements from the 6x6 fussy cut pad, and I've just added them to the front and to the sides, just as a little bit of added extra. The same on the drawer front. I've taken some of the elements and just layered them up on top of the drawer front, and where I've got like the labels going over, I've just wrapped it over onto this side so they match in just a little bit more. And again, this side here where I've got part of the labels there, I've just matched them in here. Okay, so what's inside my bureau? So if I grab my little handle, I can push that down, and I can then, I've got my little dossier wallet, and I've got a couple of notebooks. So if I take out the notebooks to begin with, so the notebooks have been made using topper cards that you get in the A4 creative pad. And all I've done is I've cut them in half so I could have the image and the sentiment separately. And I wanted to create some, I suppose, like little mini books with inside there, or little notebooks. And I've just used some of the little elements from the 6x6 fussy cut pad to decorate the front on top. Put the paper inside, and it can become somewhere where you could store photographs, do journaling, or just use as a little notebook. And you get like 12 of the toppers on the A4 pad. So I could have made 12 little books. Or if you were doing this, it could be for 12. Each book could be about one particular person or one particular event. So I've got those two. So I'm just going to put them at the back. Right. And then what I've got is I've got my wallets. On one of the A4, 12 by 12 sheets, you get this strip along the bottom, and it's fingerprints, and it's got left hand, right hand. So all I've done is I've cut the strip off, and that is just my simple decoration on the front of my notebooks. And I wanted to leave this plain. So you could write on it. If you've got stamps, you could stamp on there. You could bring in any of the elements that you want. And then inside, I've created like a little dossier file, again, like a little mini notebook. I haven't decorated the insides of this. And the main reason is until I decide what I'm going to use this for, whether it's photographs or journaling, that will have a little bit more say about how I decorate the inside, because I want everything to coordinate. So obviously I've made two. one for the right hand, one for the left hand, and they will then sit inside my dresser. So they sit there, as you can see, inside my dresser. I've got my notebooks there. Now, at the top of my bureau, I've raised it up just slightly, just a little bit there. And this is why the top will not sit totally flat, because I wanted to be able to put things like notebooks and something a little bit larger and not have the lid crease them in any way. So now when I pull my roll top down, it holds into place. My notebooks are safely in there, but they're not being damaged by the actual lid. I still get the curved look that I wanted for my bureau. And that was what the thinking was in my head for it all. Yeah, that's all I can say with that, really. Now, for the drawer, I wanted a deep drawer rather than... I toyed with the idea of 2 drawers, but I wanted a deep drawer in the end, because I thought you could put more stash inside there. And inside my actual drawer, I've taken, again, the same toppers, because you get, like I said to you, you get 12 on an A4 pad. And I've created little faux identity booklets. So I've just put the topper on the front and, you know, a little booklet. So you could have someone's picture, a bit like an identity card, like they would have used. And a little bit of writing, a little bit of journaling. There are so many elements within the Enigma paper collection that, you know, I could easily fill this with lots of different embellishments and lots of different types of booklets if I wanted to. But I just thought we'll have a few to start with, and they can sit inside the drawer. And obviously the drawer closes. As you can see them sitting inside there, and I can add a lot more to it. So that is my little bureau. And as I said, it was so inspired by the imagery, the feel that the papers gave me, and the nostalgia linked to it. Thank you ever so much for your time and allowing me to share a glimpse into an idea of, you know, what I wanted to create with the papers and how the papers inspired me to create my bureau. Right at the bottom, I haven't decorated the bottom of my bureau yet. And the main reason is I didn't know whether I wanted to add feet to it. So it stood a little bit taller. And, you know, it stood up like that, or I wanted it flat. And it's one of those things, I think you have to live sometimes with your project to take it to the next step rather than, you know, rush it or possibly spoil it. Well, thank you ever so much for your time. And thank you for allowing me to waffle on about how the papers inspired me to create the project I have. Hope to see you all again soon, and thank you ever so much.